think what's really interesting for us is the exact timing when this virus struck, because there was a lot of people coming in our market, and they were coming in at the time of year when we're coming out of winter and we're heading into spring, and we refer to that time period as the hunger gap. It's when we have the least product available. The winter foods are in short supply, the storage crops, and we're too cold to really grow any of the new crops. But what was really interesting is that the virus came at this time of year just as we're about to begin the growing season. And so we're very fortunate because we can adapt and really figure out how to do this growing thing. We don't have a lot of time, but had this struck in sometime in October at the end of the growing season, we would have had a really tough time to, whatever food was available, that would be available throughout the year.
It doesn't matter how you look at it. Yeah, just kind of clip it to your. There you go.
Probably attach it to my beard.
Now there's the reason 101 why you should grow a beard.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we all used to wear beards. It used to be the thing. What changed?
I don't know. Now they're saying that a beard's probably not a good thing with the virus.
Right. Hey guys, I am at, well, actually I don't know the name of the farm. I know the name.
Same name, Local Harvest Market.
Local Harvest Market Farm. I'm here with Dan Oostenbrink, who I met like 5 years ago. He was kind enough to come back and have a chat with me, especially during this very, very unique time in our country, in our province, and throughout the world. So I wanted to interview him because, well, he's an essential service. His work, his livelihood, and his family's livelihood, and what they do for our community is an essential service. But as you can see, I'm kind of interviewing him at a distance.
I think initially, like a lot of people, we were somewhat skeptical whether or not coronavirus would spread and affect our day-to-day lives. And when we started to see what was happening in some of the different regions in the world, we realized that there was something really serious happening here, and we wanted to respond to that accordingly. And the only thing that's really, really changed is it's solidified our belief that food security is all important. So we're at 15 to 20 acres approximately of mixed fruits and vegetables, and we immediately said, okay, we're going to try to get up to 25 acres and possibly 30 acres by the time the year is through. And we decided to do away with some of the fancier foods. We were going to do a lot of edible flowers. We were going to do some, neat herbs, different exotic foods, and then we realized if this is about feeding a lot of people, we're going to return to the basics, the staples, celery, broccoli, cauliflower, potatoes, beets, onions, those types of things, and also focus on crops that are high yielding but also nutritionally dense foods, while at the same time growing, the good old herbs, right? So we can add flavor and things like that and nutrients to our diet. Yeah, there was a remarkable increase in sales. I'm trying to think of how long ago that was. I think it's about 2 weeks ago when we started to notice from one day to the next. I think it was a 5-fold increase, somewhere in that range, and we've consistently been experiencing these amounts of people coming in. Not that traffic was that much higher necessarily, although there was definitely more people. But people were starting to purchase more foods, and we also work with Anita's Organic Mail, and much of those sales were with the grains, flour, oats, things that we can actually store longer. Of course, vegetables and things like that were also, sales were up in a lot of the root crops, the potatoes and carrots. And I think what probably happened was people visited the supermarkets, and the instant people started sharing pictures of empty shelves, that alarm bells went off in people's mind that this could really become a serious thing, where we're actually, on the verge of food shortages. I've said it before that the food chain right now our food is coming from 1,500 miles away, and there are many links in the chain, right from the farmer to the harvesters and the distribution companies and on and on. And so we've always been talking about trying to shorten that chain, not just to reduce our carbon footprint, but to ensure that we'd have food in our homes tomorrow. And so now, when you grow your own food or you buy food from a neighboring farm, there is one person separating you from your food, and that's a chain with one link, which really isn't a chain anymore. We don't talk about supply chains when we talk about local food. Local food or food security is also economic security and job security. Given that we're an essential service, our business isn't going to be shutting down, and our farmers, most of whom, it's a family farm, are either living on the farm or very close by, are coming every day to grow food. They have jobs, and we're so privileged to have work when there's so many people out there right now who are really, really concerned. It's really important to note that food security is job security, but it's also social security and health security. There are so many pieces in this holistic lifestyle that I really urge people to think about as they go about their day-to-day lives going forward. A lot of us in the community applaud these types of businesses. We say we need farms and we need companies that are purchasing local, and we're really enthusiastic about that. And then when it comes to the actual supporting of these companies, we are remiss. And now when we're in a crisis like this, when there is some concern about where food's coming from, a month or 2 months down the road, everybody starts to recognize this. But I don't think we're too late. I think that today's the time. So if you do have a chunk of land available to you, either your backyard, doesn't have to be big, grow some food and do it with the mindset this is no longer a hobby. Although it will be pleasurable, I can guarantee you that, but do it from the mindset that this needs to feed your family. You need to be self-sufficient, at least, if not today, then one day, at least working in that direction. Chilliwack has 40,000 acres in the agricultural land reserve. I estimate that 1 acre can feed approximately 25 people, approximately, if they were only to eat from that 1 acre throughout the course of a year. And I also believe that one farmer can farm about 5 acres, which equates to approximately one farmer feeding about 125 people in that range. If you take those 40,000 acres and you multiply that by 25, 40,000 times 25, if I have my math done correctly, is 1 million people that can be fed using Chilliwack's land.
Obviously, you don't really have much livestock. If any, I think you have a bit. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, we have. We had 6 pigs, and now we have about 75 because they all recently had babies, and so we got a lot of little piglets right now. We use them. We feed them the farm vegetables.
Right.
And leftovers from Anita's organic meal. Some of the flours that they either can't, that's maybe gone rancid, or flour that, if they have a rock in the mail, for example,
right,
it's going to have some grit in there, things like that. That's fed to the pigs. So they're a really important aspect here on the farm.
Oh,
So these cabbages here, they were planted sometime last year, July,
Yeah.
transplanted. And then we had a really cold winter, so we got down to about -13. And these guys, well, they didn't do too well. And so there's been some damage in here.
Yeah.
And so these are not marketable. You know, if times are really tough, we would probably eat this. Okay, so I can peel this back. It doesn't look half bad, does it?
No, it doesn't.
My jackknife here. We found that some of these had some molding inside,
Okay.
and I guess that's a really interesting topic to talk about as well. Is the average customer, if any food has a blemish on it of any sort or size, a little black spot or a little dent or a little bruise, you won't be able to sell it. Okay, we know that from experience. Even
Yeah.
the people who come in and say, "Oh, I'm not that concerned about this or that, or a bruise, or a crooked, or a carrot that's crooked, or a cucumber that's crooked," and yet these same people are purchasing the nicest ones of the lot. You know, nobody takes the ugliest one.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and that's where the pigs come in handy.
I gotcha.
So these guys here, this cabbage, this open here. This one actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. So?
Not a lot of flavor. A little dry. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable selling this.
Huh.
Doesn't have that same crunch that you would really expect. But you know, if times were tough,
You would do it.
we would eat this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Right?
100%.
So these cabbages here will be harvested in the next few days, and we'll feed it to our cows and our pigs. And they will be thankful for it.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen now is they're all going to start shooting out.
Yeah.
We're sending up these shoots here, and those will be harvested. You can see this guy right here. You can see multiple shoots coming up,
Yeah.
and so it's going to send up a lot of these really nice, succulent, flowering tips. There's a faint flavor of Brussels sprouts.
Okay, cool. I love Brussels sprouts.
Mhm.
Probably one of my favorites. Oh gosh, yeah.
So these beds will be cleaned up. We'll harvest the cabbages for the cows and the pigs, and then the next crop will be planted right in here.
I bet you you didn't think you'd come to see somebody eat some cabbage, but you are. This is what's happening. It's real today. I love it. Thanks for showing me all this. Means a lot. Yeah, maybe you get rainbows out here a lot.
What's that?
You get rainbows out here?
Yes, lots.
Probably, eh?